Okay, Nadia Safia message ni. Okay, no problem. Okay, only 2 people have messaged me, and unless I am aware that your internet is very, very bad, please text me before each class to let me know that you're not able to attend. Okay, ada lagi yang baru masuk? Okay. All right, so if everybody is ready, let us get started with our lesson. So in today's lesson, we're going to quickly go through DNA replication, protein synthesis, and lac operon. So DNA replication ini adalah macam mana kita ambil satu DNA, how we take one DNA and turn that into 2 strands, and how we turn 2 strands of DNA into 4, and so on and so on. For protein synthesis is the process of taking DNA, transcribing it into mRNA, and then translating that mRNA into amino acids to form proteins. And last but not least, we learned about the lac operon, which is how you turn something on and off in the DNA. All right, so let us get going with our first portion, which is 6.2 DNA replication. Saya mau satu orang bagi definisi DNA replication. Mas Mila? Mas Mila ada sudah? Mas Mila Intan?
Iya, Miss.
Ya. Tolong bagi definisi DNA replication.
Iya, Miss. DNA replication is process of producing two identical replicates from one original
Okay,
DNA molecule.
very good. That's correct, Mas Mila. Thank you very much. So it's the process of producing 2 identical copy of DNA from one original DNA molecule. Okay, so DNA replication, what we learn and what we know, it follows a particular model. Dia ada satu model yang kita gunakan sebagai dasar ataupun asas belajar DNA replication ni. Siapa saya mau minta? Nizam. Khairul Nizam. Ada? Khairul Nizam is not in the call. Okay. Who should I ask instead? Aaron ada? Aaron pun tiada. Afiq? Afiq, are you there? Okay, Afiq is not responding. Then I will make this an open question. Can anybody tell me what is the model of DNA replication that we learn about? Okay, Akil jawab, Uzair jawab, semi-conservative model. Yes, correct. So the model that we learned about is the semi-conservative model. Maksud semi-conservative model is if I have a DNA that starts with all yellow, selepas replication, after replication, I am going to get the new strands. The new DNA will look like this. If the old strand is yellow, the new strand is black. According to the semi-conservative model, after DNA replication, dia akan separuh adalah strand lama, separuh adalah strand baru. That is what is meant by semi-conservative model. Can anyone tell me what are the two other models that we know was discussed before but is actually not correct? So sebelum ni kita tahu ada 3 model. Daripada 3 model ni yang paling tepat adalah semi-conservative model. Apa lagi 2 model yang kurang tepat itu? Conservative and dispersive. Okay, Uzair bagi jawapan dalam chat which is conservative and dispersive. Kalau mengikut conservative model, ini kamu tidak payah hafal lah, setakat kamu tahu dan kamu maklum mana satu yang betul dan mana yang salah. If according to the conservative model, after replication, dia akan jadi begini. Yang old strand akan melekat dengan old strand dan new strand melekat dengan new strand. Dia tidak akan bercampur yang tua dengan yang baru. Itu conservative model yang kurang tepat. Dispersive model pula, if you started like this, okay, if your old strand is blue, after replication, dia akan nampak macam ni. Dia macam campur. Dalam satu strand tu ada yang DNA yang baru, ada DNA yang lama. Of course, my drawing is not very kemas lah right now because ini main cincai sekali saya lukis. Cukup untuk saya explain konsep yang kita belajar sahaja. So you can see here, even without the data, it looks like the semi-conservative model is the one that makes the most sense. Ini dua macam kurang logik dia. Dan selepas orang buat eksperimen, terutamanya saintis yang bernama Messelson dan saintis bernama Stahl itu, baru kita dapat bukti bahawa semi-conservative model inilah yang paling sahih, paling betul. Okay, so far no questions about the semi-conservative model, right? If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Tiada, Miss.
Okay, tiada. All right, thank you, Alicia. Then we will continue with talking about the enzymes and the proteins involved. All right, who should I ask? Darren, are you online?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, good morning, Darren. Please tell me what are the enzymes and the proteins involved in DNA replication. Sunaraikan.
What Miss? I don't listen. Can you repeat the question?
Please tell me what are the enzymes and proteins involved in DNA replication. Senaraikan enzim dengan protein yang terlibat dalam DNA replication. Kalau tidak silap, dia ada 7. Ada 7. Okey, sambil Darren cari dia punya nota, saya selitkan juga. Kalau kamu boleh ingat apa enzim dan protein yang terlibat dalam DNA replication, mudah untuk kamu ingat dia punya step untuk mekanisme. Because once you remember who is involved, it's just thinking about, okay, siapa duluan? Okay, dia masuk dulu, apa dia buat? Oh, okay. Then next step, siapa lagi masuk? It's very easy to remember the step after you remember the enzymes and proteins. Darren, kalau tidak mau cakap, boleh main type juga. Type di chat. After we look at the list of enzymes and proteins involved, we are going to try and draw how DNA replication looks. While we wait for Darren, anybody else have any questions regarding DNA replication? If you have any question, feel free to ask in the chat and I will read it out. Jaga kamu bila kamu datang college dah. Panggil di depan menulis nih. Okay, let us. Okay, Lim has asked. Oh, Lim bagi jawapan terus. Darren, are you there?
Yes, Miss. Yes.
Okay, jumpa sudah kan nota kamu?
Ada.
Ada. Okay, baca.
Tinggal tulis lagi. DNA helicase,
Mhm.
single strand binding protein, DNA gyrase, primase, DNA polymerase 3, DNA polymerase 1, and DNA ligase.
Okay, thank you. Alright, thank you for Darren and thank you Lim. Darren perlu keep up with the lesson Kamu ada ketinggalan sedikit. Have to keep up. Terutamanya dengan assignment segala-gala. Alright, thank you. Alright, I'm gonna write out all of these primase DNA polymerase 3, DNA polymerase 1, and also DNA ligase. Okay. Ini kalau kita di kelas nih, shock nih saya panggil kamu satu-satu untuk baca. But I would like another person, Eva Deli ada? Eva, are you here? Ada, okay. Can you turn on microphone? Dan saya mau minta kamu bagi tahu saya function setiap enzim dengan protein ini. Tell me the function of each of these enzymes and proteins. Cannot. Can you type it? Okay. Dan kita tunggu Eva untuk type satu-satu. You can type satu enzyme, then send. Type satu enzyme, then send. Okay, so I am going to read the first text that Eva Demi sent. She wrote that DNA helicase, the function is to untwist and unwind parental DNA strands at replication fork, correct? SSBP binds to the unpaired DNA strands, keeping them from repairing. Very good. Okay, Eva, type sampai DNA gyrase saja, and then I'm going to ask anyone else who can open their mic to tell me the function for primase, DNA polymerase 3, DNA polymerase 1, and DNA ligase. Eva, type sampai gyrase saja, okay? Okay, Eva typed DNA gyrase will break, swivel, and rejoin parental DNA ahead of the replication fork, relieving the strain caused by unwinding. Okay, so those are all correct answers for what are the functions of enzymes DNA helicase, SSBP, and DNA gyrase. DNA gyrase juga ada nama lain yaitu topoisomerase. Dua-dua pun betul, terpulang kepada kamu mana satu nama kamu mau guna. Okay, so who else is here that can open their mic and can tell me the function of the other 4 enzymes? Siapa-siapa saja? Come on, don't be shy.
Saya, Miss.
Okay, Alicia, thank you. Tolong bacakan apa function primase?
Untuk primase, synthesize RNA primer at 5N using the parental DNA at both of leading strand and of each Okazaki fragment of lagging strand.
Okay, very good. Thank you. That is correct.
Dengan DNA itu juga Kak? Oh.
Ya, dengan yang tiga-tiga lagi.
DNA polymerase 3 catalyze the synthesis of new DNA by adding DNA nucleotide complementary to the template strand from 5N to 3N direction.
Okay, very
DNA
good.
polymerase 1, it removes the primer in DNA strand and replace them with DNA nucleotide.
Okay, good.
DNA ligase, join DNA fragment by formation of polyester bond.
Phosphodiester bond.
Phosphodiester bond.
Yes. All right. Very good. Correct. Thank you, Alicia. All right. So those are the functions of each of the enzymes and the proteins involved. Okay. Thank you for reading it out to me, Alicia. There is one thing I would like to point out. Kalau kamu nampak ada 3 dan 5 begini dalam nota, dia ada itu macam the thing on top, right? So this, we read it as 5 prime. And this is 3 prime end. Itu cara kita baca dia. So very good to read it that way. Remember, this is read as 5 prime, 3 prime. Okay, now we are going to go through step by step of the DNA replication process. And remember each of the enzymes that we are using. Okay, So, this is your DNA. Biasanya DNA kita lukis begini, dia double helix, dia belengkung-belengkung. Tapi sebab susah untuk lukis diagram ni kalau dia curvy-curvy macam tu, jadi kita kasih rata dia, kasih rata dia akan jadi macam gambar raja di bawah. Okay, so now I want to start my DNA replication. Where do I start? What is the point where I should start my DNA replication? Titik permulaan dia tuh dipanggil sebagai apa? It starts with an O. If anybody knows.
Origin of replication kami.
Yes, correct, Carissa. Thank you. It's origin of replication. So, titik permulaan di mana kita mula replication adalah origin of replication. So, the enzyme that is going to start is going to be DNA helicase. Sebab function dia adalah to unzip and unwind the hydrogen bonds in DNA. So, yang kuning ini kita akan gelar dia sebagai DNA helicase. DNA helicase akan datang dan putuskan hydrogen bond di sini. Masih putus. It's gonna break a few. And when the hydrogen bond is broken, the DNA strand will open up and look like this. Bila hydrogen bond kita terputus, DNA kita akan terbuka macam ini. Dan sekarang di sini ada satu DNA helicase, dua DNA helicase. This is called a replication bubble. Sebab bila DNA kita terbuka, dia akan nampak macam ada bubble di DNA. Dan bahagian ini, this part is called the replication fork. So one replication bubble has two replication forks. Ini one replication fork, second replication fork. And each of the DNA helicase will keep going in their own direction. So yang sebelah kiri ini akan pergi ke kiri sampailah ke hujung. Yang sebelah kanan akan pergi ke kanan sampailah dia sampai di hujung. So let's allow it to cut even more. Let's allow your DNA helicase to cut even more. Cut even more. Then your your replication bubble will be even bigger. Okay, now your DNA replication bubble is bigger. Dia akan nampak macam ini. What is the next enzyme that should be mentioned? Somebody mention another enzyme? SSBP. Okay, thank you. Farahin? Alright, so we take the SSBP. SSBP akan datang kepada strand yang sudah terbuka. Ini, kalau kita tiada SSBP, selepas DNA helicase sudah limpas, itu strand akan mau melekat balik sama-sama. If there is no SSBP to bind and hold the single-stranded DNA, it will want to rejoin and repair. Dia mau getek tu dia tu. Dia mau juga berpegang tangan dengan DNA yang lain. So the red one is SSBP or single strand binding protein. So what is the next enzyme that is involved? Mention another enzyme, please. DNA gyrase. Okay, DNA gyrase or topoisomerase will be somewhere here on the DNA. Tempat yang helicase belum sampai. Downstream of the DNA. So, bila DNA helicase potong di sebelah sini akan semakin terlilit. So, untuk mengelakkan kamu punya DNA terlampau berlilit sampai DNA helicase tidak dapat buka sudah, topoisomerase ataupun DNA gyrase akan potong, kasih terbalik, dan sambung balik DNA itu. That is what is meant by break, swivel, and rejoin fragments of DNA. Tugas dia adalah untuk mengelakkan DNA kita daripada terlampau lilit. It prevents supercoiling. Alright, so next enzyme. DNA primase, or it's actually, ada yang tulis DNA primase, ada buku yang tulis RNA primase. I'm just going to go by primase. Saya guna perkataan primase ya. So primase akan ikut di belakang helicase. So it will follow here. So the primase will be here. The primase will be here. The primase can be here. The primase can be here. Apa yang primase akan buat adalah dia akan tinggalkan RNA primer. So it's actually going to put an RNA block. Dia letak satu RNA block di sini. RNA block, RNA block. That is complementary to the DNA, yang matching dengan DNA di sini. Okay, so next enzyme involved. This is RNA primer. DNA polymerase 3, correct. So DNA polymerase 3 will come next. DNA polymerase 3, I don't know what color I want to use. Probably blue juga lah. DNA polymerase 3 will come here. Oh, no, it will not come here. It will be 5' to 3. It will go here. DNA polymerase will go here and here. So it will start to synthesize DNA that is complementary to the template strand. It's going to go in this direction, which is 5' to 3' direction. 5' to 3' on the new DNA strand. So dia akan nampak macam ini. And then up here. It's going to look like this. And then the DNA helicase is, of course, at the same time, it's going to keep unwinding the DNA. So dia akan terus membuka dan terus memanjang. Okay. When the DNA new strand has been synthesized, the SSBP can go away. Bila itu DNA ada pasangan dia sudah, SSBP akan lari. Okay, and then I'm going to keep drawing this. Sorry for the wait. We are going to try to go through this subtopic. Okay, next enzyme that is involved is DNA polymerase 1. Okay, thank you. So DNA polymerase 1, the function of DNA polymerase 1 is to come here. It will find the RNA primers. Dia cari RNA primer yang warna hijau tu, cari. Dan dia akan gantikan RNA primer dengan DNA nucleotides. So it will come, replace the green parts with the blue parts. Semua yang RNA dia akan cari dia akan ganti, cari dan ganti supaya semuanya DNA. And the last enzyme that is involved is DNA ligase. So the function of DNA ligase akan datang dan cari di mana DNA belum bersambung. Like here, the backbone is not yet connected. Here, the backbone is not yet connected. What DNA ligase will do is it will come and it will stick it together. Dia macam datang dan kasih gam mana yang belum melekat. Okay, so it will catalyze formation of phosphodiester bond between DNA fragments ataupun Okazaki fragments. Okay. So far, any questions? Okay. All right. So that is more or less how is the mechanism of DNA replication. Selain daripada ingat enzim, terus dapat ingat step, kamu juga perlu ingat mana satu adalah leading strand dan mana satu adalah lagging strand. Dan actually kalau kamu tengok keseluruhan bubble, if you look at the bubble as a whole, macam cara saya buat tadi, kita tengok kiri dan kanan sekali, macam susah mau nampak mana satu adalah leading, mana satu adalah lagging strand. So most books and most questions actually only focus on one fork. Biasanya soalan cuma akan fokus kepada separuh sahaja, dia tengok satu belah, satu fork sahaja, supaya senang untuk kamu nampak mana satu leading and lagging strand. So if this is a replication fork, you have your DNA helicase right here, sedang potong. And then you will have DNA polymerase 3. Oh no, you will have your primase making a primer here, making a primer here, making a primer here. You will have this primer. You will have one strand that can keep making If you are looking at just the replication fork, just one replication fork, you will see that there is one strand that is going to be the leading strand that is forming from 5' to 3' in this direction. Leading strand means dia tidak banyak bahagian yang berpecah-pecah. Dia tidak membentuk Okazaki fragments. Sebab sejak kita mula potong daripada origin of replication, dia cuma perlu letak satu RNA primer, and then itu DNA polymerase 3 dia akan ikut ngam-ngam di belakang helicase, dan dia punya DNA strand yang baru tidak terputus-putus. The other one is the lagging strand. Lagging strand is on the other side. Dia akan terputus-putus sebab masa DNA helicase di sini, dia letak satu RNA primer di sini. Bila DNA helicase bergerak lagi ke depan, dia akan letak satu lagi primer di tengah-tengah. DNA helicase bergerak lagi, nanti dia akan letak lagi satu primer. Okay, so that is why it will form fragments. Dia akan bentuk cebis-cebisan. So one of them will be a leading strand and one of them will be a lagging strand. Okay, Lim has a question. Lim's question is DNA primase. DNA primase, is it synthesize RNA primer at 5' end or 3' end or both of them? It will synthesize RNA primer wherever there is space. Once it synthesizes the RNA primer will be the 5' end. Kalau, I hope this answers your question. Bila RNA primase itu buat RNA primer, which is the green part, the green part will be the starting point, which is 5' end. Di bahagian leading strand, 5' end adalah sebelah sini. Lagging strand, 5' end sebelah sini. 3' sebelah sini. Dan dia akan membentuk in this direction. Does that answer your question, Lynn? Okay, thank you. Dan DNA replication ini akan terus sehingga DNA ini habis dipotong dan habis disalin. The initiation is dia akan mula dan dia akan buka. The elongation is dia akan membentuk strand baru. Termination adalah bila dia sudah sampai di hujung DNA. So far okay, do we have any other questions? Macam tiada? Oke, nanti kalau ada sebarang soalan berkaitan dengan kamu punya assignment untuk case study 1, kamu boleh tanya waktu slot kedua. Okay, so now we are going to go a bit faster. We are going to go into 6.3, which is protein synthesis. Protein synthesis, like I said before, it involves transcription and also translation. Dalam eukaryotes, macam kita ada transcription, DNA splicing, kemudian baru translation. Dalam prokaryot, dia transcription terus translation. Okay, so this one, what process is this? Bessie ada? Bessie, what process is this?
Protein synthesis, Miss.
Protein synthesis, tapi bahagian mana satu?
Transcription.
Yes, correct. So this is transcription. Very good, thank you. All right. I would like to ask Awi ada? Awi tiada in the chat. Okay, Andy? Andy, how many stages are there in transcription? Ada berapa stage, berapa peringkat?
Sekejap, Miss. Three.
Okay, 3 stages. Apa stage dia? Nama dia?
Initiation, elongation, termination.
Okay, very good. Now, based on this diagram, ada 4 gambar raja kecil kan? Okay, so this is, ini boleh kita sebagai 1, 2, 3, dan 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gambar raja mana yang mewakili initiation?
Yang pertama
Pertama saja?
sama keempat.
Pertama dan keempat untuk initiation.
Ya.
Almost there, but not quite. Thank you for answering, Andy. Initiation ataupun permulaan untuk transcription, dia adalah gambar raja ini yang pertama dan yang kedua. So the first and the second, these are both showing initiation process. Yang pertama ini, gambar raja pertama ini, dia baru jumpa itu start site. Kemudian dia buka DNA, it starts to unwind the DNA and start synthesizing the mRNA strand. These are all initiation. But good try. Thank you, Andy. Okay, the second part is elongation. Okay, sini saya tulis initiation, elongation, and termination. Elongation kita kasih membentuk the rest of the mRNA. Kita kasih panjang dia. So the enzyme here, which is RNA polymerase, tadi DNA replication ada 7 enzim dengan protein. Untuk transcription dia sangat mudah sebab dia satu enzim saja. Okay, enzim itu lepas dia potong, dia terus bergerak downstream. Dan tempat yang dia sudah limpas itu DNA akan bergabung semula. So you see here as the RNA strand grows, RNA polymerase keeps moving downstream, it keeps transcribing, the rest of the DNA will rejoin. Dia akan gabung semula. Okay, dan itu akan berterusan sehinggalah dia sampai satu tempat di mana dia tahu dia mau berhenti. What is this place called? Siapa saya mau tanya? Litzman ada? Litzman? Is he here? Oh, macam tiada. Esther? Esther, are you there? Esther, if you're here, can you tell me, how does RNA polymerase know to terminate the transcription? Macam mana RNA polymerase tahu sampai sudah masa untuk dia berhenti transcription? Dia sampai apa? Esther, are you there? Okay, Leah, Esther is not there. Leah, Etia? Leah, are you there? Okay, Leah ada. Okay, tell me, how does RNA polymerase know it's time to terminate the transcription? Macam mana dia tahu habis sudah proses transcription? Ada apa di sini? Not quite, not stop codon. Not stop signal. Oh, okay, bolehlah. Boleh stop signal ataupun terminator. Kenapa semua orang selain daripada Lia yang jawab nih? Okay, in the chat, some people answered stop codon, some people answered stop signal, some people answer termination site, stop sequence. Okay, semua itu diterima. Kamu boleh cakap stop site, terminator, ataupun stop signal. Basically, there is one part of the DNA after the gene that tells the RNA polymerase to stop, and it is called the stop signal ataupun terminator ataupun stop site. Okay. Jawapan-jawapan kamu yang dalam chat semua betul, kecuali codon. Okay, so that is how it is lah. Daripada dia start sampai dia habis satu enzim saja yang terlibat, iaitu RNA polymerase, dan dia akan hasilkan raw mRNA ataupun unprocessed mRNA. Kalau dalam eukaryotes, kita perlu melalui RNA splicing ataupun RNA processing. untuk membuang part pada mRNA yang tidak penting dan tidak boleh digunakan. So that brings us to the next slide. After the mRNA is useful, it will go through the next part of protein synthesis, which is called translation. Okay, who else do I want to call? Aaron is not here. Is Aaron still studying? So, tidak pernah nampak di dalam chat. Richman? Richman, are you there? Susah lah mau panggil kamu untuk online nih. Nur Ainiza? Nur Ainiza, are you there? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, dalam gambar raja ni ada tiga set gambar raja. Tolong bagi tahu saya mana satu adalah initiation, elongation, dan termination. Dia sebelah kiri atas, sebelah kiri bawah, ataupun sebelah kanan.
Sebelah kiri atas initiation, sebelah kiri
Okay, very
bawah
good.
termination, and sebelah kanan elongation.
Okay, very good. So the first initiation, termination. And this one is elongation. Very good. Dalam elongation, dia ada 3 sub-step ataupun 3 step kecil. Apa 3 step kecil itu dalam elongation? Masih Nurainiza.
Step 1, codon recognition.
Okay, very good.
Step 2, peptide bond formation.
All right, very good.
And step 2, translation.
No, not quite, not quite. Check the spelling. It's not translation.
Termination of translation.
No, no.
What? Apa? Kejap, Miss. Apa tadi question?
Yang sub-step ketiga. It's okay. Saya rasa kamu nampak perkataan yang betul, tapi tersalah pandang. Dia adalah translocation.
Oh, yeah.
Translocation ataupun pindah tempat. Translocate. Ubah kedudukan. Ya, okay, good. Very good answer. Very fast answer. Thank you, Nurainiza. Beginilah kalau kena tanya soalan, guys. Terus jawab. Thank you. Alright, so let's look at initiation. Initiation, mRNA masuk cytoplasm. Small subunit datang melekat. Initiator tRNA datang melekat. Kemudian large subunit datang bak duduk di atasnya. Initiator tRNA is always UAC. Dia punya antikodon. Dan kodon dia adalah AUG. Dan dia sentiasa bawa methionine. AUG adalah start kodon. Okay, after this initiation, dia boleh teruskan kepada elongation. Elongation untuk setiap amino acid yang masuk dalam polypeptide kita, dia akan lalui 3 step ini. Pertama ada codon recognition. Kedua ada peptide bond formation. Ketiga adalah translocation. Codon recognition adalah, okay, dia tahu tRNA yang membawa amino acid yang betul, masuk ke atas codon yang betul. Peptide bond formation adalah kita pastikan polipeptide yang panjang ini gabung, dia buat bond, peptide bond dengan amino acid yang baru. Okay, so that's why your new chain looks like this. And then after that we have translocation, which is kita kasih pindah ini mRNA dengan ini ribosom, kasih pindah yang tRNA yang baru masuk tadi pergi tengah-tengah, yang kosong sudah akan keluar. That is translocation. And then for the next amino acid, we will repeat until you reach your stop codon. Bila sampai saja stop codon, kita tidak akan dapat tRNA, kita akan dapat release factor. Release factor is a type of protein. Okay, once it reaches there, it will cause this whole thing to dissociate. Release factor akan menyebabkan kamu punya polypeptide terlepas daripada kamu punya tRNA. tRNA kamu pun dibuang keluar daripada ribosom. Dan ribosom, release factor, mRNA akan terbuka. So that is initiation, elongation, and termination process. Alright. Not much I want to say about this. Do you have any question about translation? Okay, tiada. Then I will continue to the next one. So this is what we call the genetic code. Genetic code adalah cara kita baca daripada DNA kepada mRNA, mRNA kepada protein. Di DNA kita tiada nama khas, dia cuma DNA saja. Bila kita jadikan dia kepada mRNA, kita boleh gelar dia sebagai codon. Codon adalah apabila kita baca sesuatu nukleotide itu 3/3. Dia bukan berterusan, tapi mesti 3/3. And then based on that codon, we will know what amino acid to put in. Okay, the amino acids will form proteins or polypeptides. Okay, based on this, try to transcribe and translate. Nanti saya bagi kelonggaran untuk siapa-siapa sahaja untuk cakap jawapan dia.
Miss, can I
Yes.
ask a question?
Yes?
I want to ask about that. What the form for UAA, UAG, and UGA for the stop codon?
What is the?
Amino acid form?
You won't have an amino acid. It's just stop codon.
Oh, just stop codon.
Yes.
It's like the G codon.
Yeah, you just write stop. Okay, Lim, are you ready with your answer?
Okay.
Hold on, your mic is very missing.
Oh.
Okay, if you can you type your answer in the chat instead, and I will copy it here. Okay.
Okay, Miss.
Terima kasih, kamu bekerja sama. Mesti ada yang menguap tertidur sudah nih kan? I would prefer a face-to-face class once we can get face-to-face. Kadang-kadang orang tuh tidak hadir Google Meet sebab dia tidak niat belajar. Dan dia sengaja tidak lama. Dia pasang saja ke Google Meet. Tapi ada kalanya orang tuh memang penat sebab banyak assignment kah, family ada hal kah, ataupun semalam rumah dia masuk air kah, lepas tu sepanjang masa ni dia cuba untuk selamatkan barang-barang dia, sangat penat dan Google Meet apalah dia mau tengok. Dan ada yang memang internet langsung tidak okay. So, it's not fair for everybody. I hope that when you can come here, you will all be able to learn more properly. And yang malas pun terpaksa belajar, yang ada niat belajar tapi tidak, tempat belajar dia tidak selesa sekarang. dapat belajar dengan lebih berkesan. Okay, right. So this is the mRNA that Lim wrote in the chat. I am copying on the Jamboard. Saya harap yang malas, insaflah. Saya harap yang tidak mampu belajar dengan selesa sebab kemudahan tidak lengkap. Ataupun penat atau ada isu lain. I hope things get better for you. Okay, so let us look at the DNA, the mRNA, and the amino acids. So if up here it is 3', down here it should be 5'. So that is correct. So we start the mRNA with 5', C, A, U, correct? U, G, G, U, A, ends with 3'. So this is very good. This is correct mRNA transcription. Now let us translate from mRNA to protein. CAU, kita perlu cari di kita punya codon table ini. CAU. Alright, so we see here CAU codes for his, I don't remember his to apa. What is the full name? Tapi his lah, okay, so this one is correct. UGG, kita tengok di table ini, kita cari histamine. Thank you, Akil. Yeah, I think it's histamine. UGG, we go to UGG, kita cari. UGG is here. Trip. I'm also not sure what is the full name of trip. Nanti kita Google. Dan UAA adalah stop. So for stop codon, you just write a stop ataupun stop codon. Sini kita akan tulis stop saja. Okay, so that's it. Ini cara kita transcribe dengan translate. Your assignment kamu tu kalau tidak silap case study 2, kamu perlu transcribe dan translate DNA sequence yang kamu pilih. Okay, yang mRNA itu kita letak pairing dia, betul kan, Miss? Yes, Eviliska. When we write the mRNA, we write the pairing. So kalau 3, pairing dia adalah 5. Kalau G, pairing dia adalah C. T, pairing dia adalah A. A, pairing dia adalah U. Remember that mRNA or any RNA does not use thymine. It uses uracil. So, apa yang sepatutnya T, tulis dengan U. This one is U, G, G, U, A. Dan habiskan. Untuk protein berdasarkan mRNA. Yes, correct. When you want to select the amino acid for the protein, you use the mRNA punya. The 3 stop codons have been named as amber, UAG, opal or amber, UGA, and ochre, UAA from the website. Lim, that is good extra information, but no, I don't think you should write that because I'm not sure the examiners know the extra names for the stop codons. So if you write that, most likely you're going to confuse the examiner. Wait, you don't have exam for this chapter. So you don't need to write. No, tulis stop saja, Lim. Tulis stop saja. That is good extra information, but no need to write that. Okay. That is good. That's good. So, bagi yang tidak nampak chat sekarang, maybe you are looking at the recording. Basically, Lim found the names for the 3 stop codon, yaitu amber, opal, and ochre. Extra information lah. That's a very interesting one. Thank you. Okay, any more questions about transcribing and translating? Sabar kamu, kita boleh siap sebelum pukul 10 nih. And then kita rehat. And then baru kita sambung dengan slot kedua. Tiada.
Miss, can you listen clearly now?
Yes, I can hear you clearly now.
For the protein, right? For the amino acids, right? We just need to write like the histamine. We just need to write HIS, right? No need to write the full name.
Yes, no need to write the full name.
Okay. Thank you, Miss.
Depends on the questions. The questions bagi full. If the questions give you full, but you don't know how to shorten it to 3 letters, jangan pandai-pandai kasih pendek. Cuma pendekkan kalau kamu tahu macam mana, like how is the proper short form. Okay. Farahin tanya, Miss, kita wajib start dari AUG. Kalau in reality, yes, we need to start from AUG, which is the start codon. Tapi dia bergantung kepada soalan juga. Kalau soalan tidak bagi kamu AUG, dan kamu tidak perlu start dengan start codon. Ini sebab ini latihan ringkas saja, jadi saya tidak muat kasih AUG. But in your case study, it will start with AUG untuk assignment. Does that answer your question? All right, thank you. Any more questions? If not, we will go on into 6.4. All right. Okay, we're going to go into 6.4, which is the last subtopic of this chapter. It's very short actually. Cuma kalau kamu diminta untuk hafal, dia panjang sedikit lah. Okay, leg operon. Leg operon is how our DNA turns part of itself on and off. So, kalau kita punya gene sentiasa on dan sentiasa hasilkan protein, dia akan memakan tenaga dan membazir bahan yang ada dalam sel kita. Jadi, untuk menjimat tenaga dalam sel itu, kita boleh off sesetengah gene kita menggunakan sistem operon. So, what is an operon? Can anyone tell me? What does an operon mean? Functioning unit of DNA? No, not quite. Not quite functioning unit of DNA. Functioning unit of DNA is gene.
Functioning unit of DNA containing a cluster of genes under the control of a single regulatory signal or promoter.
Okay, very good, Darren. Thank you. So it is a functioning unit of DNA that contain cluster of genes. Itu keyword pertama. Regulated as a single unit. Ataupun under the control of a single promoter. Single, operator, promoter, dan sebagainya. Okay, so basically dia satu segmen tu, satu cluster tu dia dikawal oleh satu benda. Dan kalau kita lukis, this is a DNA. Oh, wait, no, I don't know. If we have our DNA macam ni, we will have a segment that is the promoter, operator. This is your structural genes, and then termination site. Dan di depan dia, paling depan sekali, kita akan ada regulatory gene. So this will be the components of your leg operon, or components of your operon. We have, I'm gonna write this. kita akan ada kamu punya regulatory gene. Akan ada kamu punya promoter, operator, structural genes, and that one is your termination site. Termination site kurang penting. Okay, let me just check if this is all the components. Okay, yeah, that's all. So, ini adalah kamu punya 4 main components. Perlu ingat the 4 components of like operon. Okay, regulatory gene akan hasilkan kamu punya repressor protein. Dan bergantung kepada kamu punya operon, repressor protein itu mungkin akan on ataupun akan off kamu punya gene. In the example that we use for this chapter is lack operon. So in lack operon, we depend on the presence of lactose. Kalau ada lactose, dia akan ubah gene ini sama ada on ataupun off. Okay, can anyone tell me in the presence of lactose, does the lack operon of E. coli turn on or turn off? In the presence of lactose, which means dalam persekitaran E. coli ini bila ada lactose, dia akan on ataupun dia akan off.
On.
Yes, correct. So when we have lactose in the environment, your lack operon will turn on. So let us see. Kalau tiada lactose, kalau terhasilnya repressor protein kamu akan block di sebelah sini. It will bind to the promoter. It will bind to the operator. Okay, if you don't have any lactose, the repressor protein will bind to the operator. RNA polymerase cannot do transcription. So no structural genes is transcribed, no enzymes produced. But if you have lactose in the environment, that means the lactose will sit here. It will change the shape of the repressor protein. Repressor protein cannot sit on the operator. That means your RNA polymerase enzyme can come here, it can transcribe the genes, and then it can translate the mRNA into the enzymes. So if there is lactose, everything will be on. Itu saja untuk 6.4. Cuma kamu perlu ingat dia punya ayat dan kamu perlu ingat sama ada dia on ataupun dia off saja. Any questions regarding 6.4? Okay, I think there are no questions. All right, let me just, if you have any questions, feel free to type or ask. In the meantime, I'm just gonna give you a quick overview. Chapter 6 ni agak ringkas. Cuma mungkin untuk faham certain point itu atau hafal nama dia mungkin menjadi cabaran bagi kamu lah. Banyak saja video di YouTube dan mana-mana di internet yang kamu boleh gunakan sebagai rujukan untuk belajar chapter ini. Sebab chapter ni memang kalau ada animation lebih mudah untuk kita faham. Assignment yang kamu sepatutnya buat adalah membantu kamu untuk belajar Dan pada masa yang sama, itu adalah cara untuk saya nilai sama ada kamu faham atau tidak. So the assignment that you're doing is a way for you to learn and understand. At the same time, it allows me to assess your understanding. So please do your assignment. Memang buat assignment tu kita berdasarkan chapter ini sahaja. Untuk chapter 6 tiada dalam PSPM, tetapi ada dalam UPS 2. Which brings me to the topic of UPS. UPS 2, if I am not mistaken, it will include chapter 4, 5, 6. And kita akan adakan pre-UPS semasa cuti midterm kamu, iaitu 2 minggu dari sekarang. UPS 2, the actual test will be 3 weeks from now, if I'm not mistaken. And we will do it on Thursday afternoon juga lah. Memang kita akan buat sebelah petang hari Khamis. Okay, so I haven't given you the link for tutorial exercise for chapter 6. Untuk chapter 6 ni saya tidak wajibkan hantar tutorial exercise lah. Tapi saya akan bagi soalan objektif ekstra. Soalan objektif ekstra yang saya akan masukkan dari GC itu adalah wajib untuk kamu jawab. Sebab kalau saya bagi kamu soalan tutorial, dia lebih kurang saja dengan case study kamu. Yang case study kamu tu lebih penting dan itu bawa markah PB. So please do the assignment and submit it by this Friday for your first draft. Okay, ada sebarang soalan berkaitan dengan chapter 6? Ataupun sebarang soalan berkaitan dengan assignment. Maybe kamu sudah buat assignment dan kamu sedang bandingkan dengan konten chapter 6. Minggu lepas saya cakap sekurang-kurangnya, hold on, I'll answer that question in a bit. I'll stop presenting this. Minggu lepas masa saya send kamu list video itu, saya cakap dalam minggu 9 sekurang-kurangnya tonton sampai 6.2. So this week you must finish watching my video until 6.3 and 6.4. Bacalah nota lecture note itu dan buatlah nota kamu sendiri. Kalau kamu main baca dan tengok video saja, susah untuk otak kamu ingat apa-apa info yang kamu belajar. So please do your own notes juga. Okay, soalan 5. How if mutation happens in lac operon? Can anything change in it? It depends what type of mutation. In the next chapter, we will learn about different types of mutation and different effects. Kadang-kadang itu mutation dia akan memberi kesan yang positif, memberi kesan yang negatif, dan kadang-kadang tiada kesan langsung. So if it's a silent mutation, a mutation that doesn't give any effect, your lac operon can function as normal. But if it's a mutation that changes the sequence in DNA, especially in the important parts of the regulatory gene or the promoter or the operator or the structural genes, then there is a possibility that your enzymes does not get transcribed or your enzymes may lose its function. So 3 possibilities there for your question, Lim. Maybe the first possibility is no effect, tiada kesan. Second possibility is no transcription. Third possibility is you have a mutated protein. We can look at that more in chapter 7. Baiklah. Memang saya kurangkan beban kerja untuk chapter 6. Saya harap kamu boleh gunakan masa ekstra ini untuk siapkan eksperimen, lab report dan juga assignment. Nanti slot kedua saya akan bincang dengan lebih lagi lah. Dan slot kedua juga masa untuk kamu tanya soalan. Okay. Are we all good? Can I end the lesson for slot 1? Boleh. Alright. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Saya tahu kelas hari ini kurang menarik berbanding dengan kelas biasa yang saya lompat-lompat bawa kamu bercerita. But thank you for sticking with me anyway. I hope that you learn something. I hope that you'll study harder, smarter for your metrics life. Thank you. And I will see you again at 11 o'clock. Bye, guys. Stick like a sticker. Bye. Oke, kita jumpa pukul 11 ya. Saya boleh guna link yang sama nanti. Thank you.